The Progressive Caucus in the House is fighting Nancy Pelosi on her drug bill. Now, this is Nancy Pelosi's effort to lower pharmaceutical drug prices. The whole idea is to open the door to negotiations on some of these pharmaceutical drug prices. But progressive members of Congress are arguing, no, this isn't enough, and we are gonna vote against this bill unless you play ball. Now, let me just note that it is unlikely that any version of this bill is gonna pass, or because of the fact that Donald Trump is gonna veto it. But it's a symbolic move that's incredibly important because it's gonna show that Nancy Pelosi can't just ignore progressives, right? She can't just ignore the Progressive Caucus. So let me give you the details on what's going on. Progressives led by Representatives Pramila, Jayapal, and Mark Pocan, who are pushing for changes to the legislation, are standing firm, arguing the bill is far too modest and would do little if enacted, which, given the makeup of the Republican majority Senate, it won't be. Now, who is backing progressives in this move? Of course, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. So two presidential candidates who are encouraging progressives in Congress to fight Nancy Pelosi on this. Now, this was retweeted by Bernie Sanders. Progressive House Democrats will vote next week to lower drug costs. Progressives are seeking key improvements to take on pharma greed, and that includes increase the number of drugs negotiated on every year, end the Medicare negotiation ban, stop pharma price spikes for millions, and expand benefits to the uninsured. Now, the current loopholes in the bill include the following. The negotiated price on the 25 plus prescription drugs per year is available to Medicare, group, and individual market health plans, but people without insurance are not covered, right? And let me just note, 25 prescription drugs, that's it? Just 25 prescription drugs. That's the bold bill that's being brought forth by Nancy Pelosi. Now, the number of drugs can increase to 35 in 10 years.
Wow.
I mean, it's pathetic.
Okay, no, it's actually much worse than I thought it was. The Intercept made a brilliant point about it. I already hated this bill. I thought it was one of the worst bills I've ever seen, and it turns out I was wrong. It's worse than I even realized. So before I explain why, real quick, Anna said, of course, Sanders and Warren came out against Pelosi's version of the bill. I have to be honest, that's not really an of course. It's unprecedented that Democratic presidential candidates would come out against their own Speaker of the House and say, no, she's wrong, the Progressive Caucus should vote no on her bill. I've never seen that.
It's bold, but I say of course because it's something that I've come to expect from someone like Bernie Sanders. He's been bold and he's spoken out against people like Pelosi in the past, but you're right. I mean, it is unprecedented for Democrats generally speaking.
It's a great sign of things to come where progressives say, yeah, no, it's okay to disagree. And think about why Sanders and Warren are saying that. And by the way, if you thought Warren wouldn't challenge any Democrats, this is a very bold move and clearly challenges the top level of Democratic leadership. So think about why they're doing it. This is the weakest reform of the healthcare system you could possibly imagine. And they're having trouble with this one, right? How the hell are we gonna pass Medicare for all if this is the best that Democratic leadership can do in the House? So now let me tell you further what's wrong with this bill. First of all, there are thousands and thousands of drugs in this country, obviously. The Democrats, in order to do a fig leaf, say, oh, well, let's regulate only 25 drugs. Why do they say that instead of negotiating all drug prices? And that's what they promised in the campaign. They said, oh, we're gonna negotiate drug prices. We're gonna stand up for Americans. And they come back like, just kidding. We're only gonna negotiate 25 of them. Because they take money from drug companies. Millions upon millions upon millions of dollars go to Democratic coffers from drug companies. So they come in here and sell you out and say only 25 drugs. 10 years later, we're gonna do 35 drugs, woo. But the reason why it's worse than I realized is it's a Trojan horse. Because when they do this bill, what do? They block negotiation on all drug prices for 10 years. Oh my God, Jesus Christ. It's actually a bill set to help drug companies continue to rob you blind for 10 more years. And by the way, to progressives, I want to give tremendous credit to Pocan and Jayapal, who I've critiqued a little bit before for not fighting against Democratic leadership. That was in the beginning of this term, and I was right about that. But here they are now beginning to fight. But guys, this is not a close issue. This is not a beginning to fight issue. If you sign on to this bill, it's an absolute disaster. This is not remotely negotiable. And I don't care if they say 35 right now. I don't care if they say 45 or 55 drugs. It's a no, it's a hell no. We're not gonna let you block negotiating drug prices for 10 years and sell us out to the drug companies. So is that what Nancy Pelosi is doing? Absolutely. Her top healthcare advisor is a guy who blocked all progressives from even negotiate any of the negotiations on this bill. And Jayapal had already passed an amendment in one of her committees, and then at the end they gutted it and they took even out that simple provision. It's basically Pelosi's office rubbing it in progressives' faces, saying, oh yeah, we're gonna help the drug companies because they're our donors. What are you gonna do about it, progressives? You huff and puff and you never do a goddamn thing. You will bend and you will break, and we will make sure we pass this bill. And if the progressives do break and they don't, all they need is 18 votes to defeat the bill. 18 votes, that's it. If they can't muster up 18 votes and they can't muster up the courage to defeat this bill, that means from now on, Pelosi and Democratic leadership will say, progressives are irrelevant. They are useless. We will run over them every time, and you will not get a single concession on a single bill because they just spit in your face. And if you let them get away with it, we'll never get any progressive priorities, even small portions of any bill ever passed. So that's why this bill is everything. If the progressives don't fight on this, and if they don't win, we're all screwed. It's corporate leadership through and through for the rest of time. I told you Democratic leadership wasn't progressive. I told you they sell you out to their donors, and that's exactly what they're trying to do with this bill. Anyone who tells you otherwise is a total liar. Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.